Kitsap. Today we are talking about the increased down payment option for buyers when making an offer. I'm Stephanie Dupuy with Dupuy team at Keller Williams West Sound, and joining me today is Cassie Lopez.
Also, Lopez, Dupuy team, Keller Williams West Sound.
Thank you for joining us. So, Cassie, what's the purpose of the 22AD, also known as the increased down payment form? What is that?
So the purpose of the increased down payment form is to, the buyer will commit to additional funds at closing or increase their down payment should the appraisal come in low and there's a gap that needs to be met between the appraised value and the agreed upon purchase price.
Okay, so tell us, what's the benefit for a buyer when they make an offer of using the 22AD?
So the benefit to the buyer, there's a couple. For one, it makes your offer incredibly strong because you're saying, hey, look, at the appraised value is not really relevant to me. I just need it to get my loan. I'm willing to get the house, whatever it takes. So I will contribute X amount of dollars. Hypothetically, if the appraisal comes in low, I'll contribute X amount of dollars to bridge that gap. What it also does is the buyer is doing their negotiating for that term that has not happened yet, that hypothetical situation. They're doing their negotiating up front, so that if it happens, which is not likely, but if it happens, then they're like, there's nothing left for the buyer to do. They've already done it.
So it establishes the boundaries that the buyer is willing to take in case it comes in low. And realistically, I mean, we were talking prior to this video, out of the last 40 transactions, we've only had one appraisal come in low. So this is, wouldn't you say, a low risk on the buyer's part?
Super low risk.
Okay.
So let's
right now, that could shift, but as of right now, it's low risk.
Right. So let's do some numbers real quick to see what that would look like to make it like real. So say your buyer's buying a house for $350,000 and they put in a 22AD increased down payment in case of low appraisal for $10,000. So that means that if the appraisal comes in low, whatever low looks like, the buyer will contribute up to an additional $10,000 at closing. So if it comes in at $345,000, there's only a $5,000 gap. So the buyer is only going to contribute $5,000. If it comes in at $340,000, they would contribute the full $10,000. If it came in at $335,000, they would contribute the full $10,000. And then there's an additional $5,000 gap that hopefully the seller would concede, because the buyer already met more than halfway. So that's what that would look like numbers wise. Okay. And it's all hypothetical because the likelihood of an appraisal coming in low is really low.
Yeah. Okay. So why wouldn't a buyer do this? Because our market's competitive right now.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a 22AD, and it's a very simple, concrete way to make your offer competitive and to wipe out the rest of the competition. So why wouldn't a buyer do this if they have the cash?
The reasons I'm hearing my buyers say is they want to save their cash because of the current global climate, the COVID stuff going on. They don't know what's going to happen in the future, so they want to just keep cash on hand. Another reason I'm hearing is that if the appraisal comes in low, they don't want to overpay for the house. They don't want to have negative equity in the house. So those are a couple of reasons I'm hearing.
Okay, so let's go to the seller side of this. Okay, so we need to look at both sides, the buyer side and the seller side. If you're a seller, why do you want to see a 22AD?
So if you're a seller reviewing offers and you have an offer come in with a 22AD increased down payment, they're looking at all the buyers as just numbers. Like, you're just a number. You're buyer 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That's why we have agents. So the buyer and seller never connect. So they're looking at their numbers and they're looking at their bottom line, but also the full strength of the offer in total. So it's not just like this term or that term. Like, yeah, you offered higher. This guy over here waived their inspection. Yes, those are strong, but as a whole, what's the strongest offer package as a whole? So if you're including an increased down payment, seller is reviewing that, looking at that. Well, this buyer is really committed. They're willing to pay for the house, even if it comes in low. They really want this house, and it protects me as a seller from having to concede extra cash at closing or reduce the purchase price or cover closing costs or whatever concessions the buyer may have to agree to. Otherwise, they're no longer going to have to agree to that.
Well, doesn't it also communicate to the seller that this buyer's transaction is more likely to close?
Yes, 100%.
And also, doesn't it also communicate to the seller that as a buyer, if I include a increased down payment form, I have the cash, I'm a strong buyer financially.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I feel comfortable myself as a buyer to make this offer. Whereas the other, man, if they're not providing increased down payment, they're not feeling the confidence financially to make that offer to the seller.
Right. And that could be the one factor that does it. I mean, I have an offer in right now on a property. Yeah, I have clients who are offering on a property, and we're one of 3, could be 4 by the end of the day. And I told them, I go, look at your offer as the whole offer is really strong, but they're not doing an increased down payment, which I advise them to do. So they're not doing it. And I told them that's the one wild card. I go, if your offer is identical to another buyer, but they have the increased down payment, that's going to be the one the seller chooses because that's the security the seller needs to move forward.
Mm-hmm. So bottom line, if you're a buyer, the increased down payment offer or addendum can often make or break your offer in a competitive offer situation.
100%.
Consider this seriously. Speak with your broker about it. If you have questions, please post your questions below. We're happy to address them. And if you found this video helpful, please share this video with your friends. Comment below, like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thank you for being here this week and joining us. We will see you in this exact spot next week. I am Stephanie Dupuy with Dupuy Team at Keller Williams West Sound, joined by
Angela Lopez, Dupuy Team, Keller Williams West Sound.
All right. Thank you, folks.